In Islam, you have two kinds of diseases. One is disease of the qalb, and the other is disease of the body, or physical disease. First is the disease of the qalb. What is the meaning of qalb? Qalb means heart. Qalb literally means to flip, to turn. It is translated mostly as heart. But here it becomes a misnomer. If I say heart diseases, it may mean cardiomyopathy. It may mean heart attack. It may mean atherosclerosis. But here, when the Quran refers to as the disease of the qalb, which is translated heart disease, in most of the translation, which is, if you use that, it may be a misnomer. People may think Quran is talking about cardiomyopathy, congenital heart disease, atherosclerosis. No. Here when the Quran talks about the disease of the qalb, it is referring to the spiritual disease. And in the Quran, Allah refers to the spiritual disease of two types. The disease of the qalb, one is disease of error and doubt or hypocrisy. And Allah says in the Quran in Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse number 10, in the qalb is the disease. I cannot say heart is a disease, it will be missed. In the qalb is the disease, and Allah increases the disease. Here Allah is talking about the disease of the doubt, the disease of error, the disease of hypocrisy. Another type of disease Allah talks in Surah Ahzab chapter 33, verse number 32, where Allah says, O wives of the Prophet, you are no ordinary women. So do not speak with complacent in your voice. Do not speak with a soft voice, lest in whose qalb is a disease, not this heart disease, not the organic heart, in whose soul is a disease. Here Allah is talking about disease of lust, disease of desire. The second type of disease of the qalb is disease of lust, disease of desire. Lest in whose heart is a disease, heart of, disease of lust, desire, adultery. Allah is warning them, do not be too complacent in your voice. Do not be too soft in your voice. Lest in whose heart is the disease, he may be taken away by the desires. And we get the guidance of hijab. That hijab doesn't only mean clothing for the woman, even there's hijab of the voice. So we get a guidance from the Quran that the women, when they speak to nahmera men, they should not be too complacent in your voice. You should not be too soft in your voice. Lest in the opposite person, if there is a disease of qalb, a disease of the soul, not the organic heart, he may get taken away by desire. And it is common in some of the societies that when people come, even when the opposite sex meet, we may find a young lady telling a nahmera man, Assalamu alaikum. See, the Quran says in Surah Anam chapter 6 verse 58. Verse 54. وَإِذَا جَاءَكَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِآيَاتِنَا فَقُلْ سَلَامٌ عَلَيْكُمْ. If you meet a person who is a believer, it is fard that you should say Assalamu alaikum. It is fard. But the scholars say, when opposite sex, especially a young lady, she should not greet an opposite nahmeram, young man, with Assalamu alaikum. The difference of opinion, some say it is makruh, some say it is mubah, but no one says it is fard. No scholar says it is fard for a young woman, Muslim woman, to greet a young man, Assalamu alaikum. No one says that it's a fard. For the man to man, it's a fard. For a woman to woman, it's a fard. But for a young woman, for a young man, it's different. Some may say makruh, some may say mubah, some may, if it differ. And imagine, I visit different countries, and in some societies where it is common, there's Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum. I have to reply according to Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse number 82. وَإِذَا حُيِّتُمْ بِتَحِيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ أَوْ رُدُّوهَا إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ شَيْئًا عَلِيمًا. If anyone greets you, you have to greet back. Anyone greets you courteously, you have to greet back more courteously, or at least the same. Allah is careful in keeping of record. That means if someone says, Assalamu alaikum, I have to say, Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For a man, I have to do that. But I, as a Muslim, being a student of knowledge, I cannot do that. If a young lady comes and tells me, Shaykh, assalamu alaikum, I cannot say, Wa alaikum assalam. But it's common in many cultures. You know it better than me. So Islamically, Allah is giving us guidance in Surah Ahzab chapter 33, verse number 52, talking about a disease. O wives of the Prophet, you are not like ordinary women. Be not too complacent in your voice. Do not be too soft in your voice, lest in whose qalb is a disease. Talking about the disease of desire, disease of lust, disease of adultery. He may get carried away by the desire. So, Quran talks about two types of diseases. Disease of qalb, that is the spiritual disease, and the disease of the body or the physical diseases. I'm sure no modern medical science has the cure for the spiritual diseases, for the disease of the qalb.